and see how that energy feels, because most likely this energy from best case scenario will come over here and take down worst case scenario and say, look, I'm willing to risk the worst case scenario if it means that I'm also opening the door to my best case scenario actually coming to life for me. This video is for anyone, including myself, who feels or who has felt at a certain time like you're too afraid to do something even though you feel called to do it, or you're unsure how to do it, or it feels uncomfortable, or it scares you. This is the video for you. First of all, hi, same, me too. I'm scared, I'm uncomfortable. I don't know exactly how things are gonna play out for me, but I feel called to do this work to help people get offline. And so I'm trying to figure it out. I'm taking steps forward in the direction that feels right. I'm trying new things. And I wanted to share what's helping me actually take action in hopes that it might help you too. I'm calling this tool / practice the power of worst case scenario. Yes, you're familiar with it. What's the worst case scenario? What's the worst thing that could happen? I've literally been asking myself, what's the worst thing that could happen? And like being honest about it, because you can let your mind go to crazy places. It probably won't actually happen. You can come up with like the craziest worst case scenario, but like be realistic. What is the worst case scenario if you take a step forward in doing things, or if you actually put yourself out there? And the reason this is actually on my mind right now is because a few weeks ago, someone asked me, oh my gosh, how do you post videos up on YouTube? How do you put yourself out there like that? And I'm going, well, I started doing this in 2018, and yes, it still is uncomfortable for me. It still makes me a little bit nervous, but I still do it because the way I got myself to post the first video was asking myself that very question. What's the worst thing that could happen? And my answer to that back then, and that is still now to this day, what's the worst thing that could happen? What's the worst that has happened now is like, oh, someone doesn't understand what I'm trying to do. Somebody doesn't agree with what I'm trying to do. Someone doesn't get why I'm on YouTube trying to help people get offline. Someone's gonna say something rude. That's the worst case scenario. Someone doesn't understand. Somebody says something rude. Okay, not too bad. I can handle that. Here's why I love pointing out worst case scenario, because naturally, once you point out worst case scenario, you have to point out, well, okay, what's the best thing that could come from this? What's the best scenario that could come out of this? So I go, okay, best scenario of me getting uncomfortable, me risking backlash from people, me risking someone saying something rude. Best case scenario is I help someone. Best case scenario, I grow. Best case scenario, I'm able to actually show people what's possible and that they aren't alone in their desire to live life offline. That sounds pretty good to me. I'm able to have impact. I'm able to help someone live more intentionally and make their life better. Now that's something I'm willing to get uncomfortable for. That's something I'm willing to take a few negative comments for. I'm willing to take some backlash for, if that's the best case scenario. So next time you're feeling afraid, you're going, oh, that sounds uncomfortable, or I'm not sure about that. I've never done this before, but for some reason I feel really called to do this thing. Ask yourself, what's the worst that could happen? What's the worst case scenario? And simultaneously, after laying that out, ask yourself, what's the best case scenario? And see how that energy feels, because most likely this energy from best case scenario will come over here and take down worst case scenario and say, look, I'm willing to risk the worst case scenario if it means that I'm also opening the door to my best case scenario actually coming to life for me. Wouldn't you rather fight and go through the discomfort to achieve those feelings, or would you rather stay comfortable and stay safe? I would rather fight. I'd rather fight for the life and for the feelings that I want to possess while I'm here. I hope this video gives you the courage to want to do the same for yourself. So remember, next time you're feeling resistance towards the thing that you feel called toward because it's scary or it's uncomfortable or it puts you at some kind of risk with the worst case scenario, take a second to actually call those things out. And don't forget to call it the best case scenario too, because most likely what's lying on the other side will be 100% worth the discomfort and the fight. I'm cheering for you. I'm doing this alongside of you. We can do this one day at a time. Keep me posted on how it goes for you, and I hope this video was helpful.